Hey, what's going on, guys? So I wasn't about to smash my microphone here for that one, but now let's take a look here at the Estailev. This is a huge box here, as you can see, quite large. Anytime a box has a handle on the top, you know it's going to be good. So this is the new collaboration release here from Wave and Orange Cat Industry, very similar to the X-Career kits, which we've seen before. And this is essentially like a full-scale version of the X-Career kits. So the X-Career design is sort of like an SD sort of design. This is kind of very similar in its design features, except it's like the regular normal like Gundam proportions, I guess you could say. It's one of those designs where it's the most Gundam looking non-Gundam thing ever, but a very cool kit. It looks like it's going to be a really nice one with some really awesome accessories, a very cool design, and just overall pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and get into this massive box. Alright, so we've got some very cool artwork here of the non-Gundam sporting its massive bazooka there and big rifle, some logos here to note, the Assort Assembly as I guess the line. So you've got the Wave and the Orange Cat Industry logos down here, and then right here, this is the full package edition, which I'm not sure what's different about the full package edition and regular edition. I would assume this is just the same edition that everyone's gonna get of the Gift Gravity Invert Flight Thruster Unit. Estailev additional equipment connected to the waist back of Estailev. Provide deflector thrusters, shield left and right. The central unit has a gravity control function. Okay, kind of broken English there. On the sides of the box, just gonna be kind of the same thing like that. But around on the back side, we've got some more photographs of what looks to be like a painted sample build of the kit. So there's a close-up one, smaller images showing some of the weapons. It's got this big like massive sword. It's got an energy sword there as well, the big bazooka, which I talked about. Some kind of shield, it's got like a beam rifle. There's some illustrations of the weapons and everything over here on this side. And there you can kind of see how that's gonna look. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the like a Riga Z, if like a Delta Gundam and Riga Z kind of had a baby, something like that. It's very similar, those type of design vibes anyway. So, all right, let's go ahead and pop the top, see what we got here. So we've got an inner kind of tray with everything. And we'll take a look at all of the runners in just a moment. Let's first take a look at some of this bonus stuff here. First up, we got this little LED right here, which you're gonna need a battery for separately, and I'll show you here in a second. Interestingly, this is Korean, and this model is produced in China. But if we take a look here, we'll take a closer look at the manual in just a moment. But the back page shows how that's gonna be installed in the neck to make the head light up. So you need this battery here, a CR311 battery, and the LED unit just plugs onto the top of that. And then once you have that installed like in the neck, basically, it'll light up the head. Here, looks like we've also got some water slide decals. Quite a lot, actually, a pretty big sheet here of water slides. These are going to be mostly in either white or red. So the white ones are going to be hard for you guys to see on camera, I know, unfortunately, but you got a lot of white and red, a couple of like orange ones on here as well, orange and dark gray for some of those, but a lot of really great decals. And then yeah, our instruction booklet, which is going to look like that. Here on the back, it has the paint guide, which is basically like blue, black, gold, white, gray, and then a few different detail images right there. Going back around to the front and side page here, there's the illustration and box art. Once again, very cool. Then getting into our parts list here on the next page. Once the parts list is finished on the next page, then it kind of gives you the breakdown of how the assembly is going to go by section. So it goes all the way through the weapons. And then after that, it's just on into the construction. So the construction of this kit should be pretty similar to the X-Career, I would imagine, where it's a fairly simple build, but it looks like it does have at least part of an inner frame kind of going on inside of there. Skipping ahead to the middle pages here, sort of similar to a Bandai manual for a master grade kit, we have another illustration here of the Estailev with another mecha there. I keep wanting to say mobile suit, but another couple different ones there in the background. Hopefully those will also come out as model kits. That would be cool. But let's see, we got some more illustration work down there, some specs, some information here that looks like that is all in Japanese. Some more illustrations over here, and then like the full version of the box art. Once we get through the rest of the construction and get back to the back of the manual here, we've got a decal guide right there for where all the decals are going to go. That's continued here onto the next page, decal guide around on the backpack and weapons and everything. Some more photos and information here talking about the weapons, action, and weapons there. Its shield with the sword mounted inside the shield is very cool. That's continued here onto the next page. Information about the bazooka, the fire lance, heavy sword, and heavy axe weapons as well. And some more detail images over here, and then about the gift. So I guess the gift is the backpack, which is the gravity invert flight thruster unit there for the back. And then we have this extra page added in here as well, which looks to be just like parts list and construction for the base. So we are going to have an included base, which is very nice. But all right, all that said, let's go ahead and now take a look at the runners. One more small thing to note here is that we also have in this little baggie a couple of magnets. So I'm not really sure where these are going to be used yet on the kit, but we've got a couple of magnets there. Now getting into the runners, here are the runners for the base. So just a couple of parts there, and as you'll notice here for the main base plate, it's in this very high gloss. Hey, how you doing? Black plastic there, so that'll look really nice. Up next, our A and B runners are also in black here, but this is not going to be quite so high gloss. This is just kind of your standard kind of satin finish here for all of these parts. Runner B is some parts here in blue. Runner C, very nice blue color here for this. And runner D we have two of, some more parts here in black, as these are kind of the main colors. We've got blue, white, gray, and black for all the runners here, as you'll see. Runner E for a bunch of our parts here in white, the majority of our white accent parts. With runner F here, we're back to some more blue parts. We've got two of this F runner. Runner G here, we're back to black, and you can see there's some hand parts in here that'll give you a sense of the size of this. It looks like it's going to be about the size of like a 1/100 scale Gundam model kit, if not slightly larger. Runner H, we've got two of these for some more pieces here in black. Same thing here for runner K, another large runner here. We've got doubles of. Some more parts in black, and that's going to continue here onto runner J as well, two of those also. Runner K we've also got doubles of, and now we're back to blue once again for some more armor pieces. Runner L here for a few more pieces here in white. We've got two of the L runner. Runner M is a few more pieces here in blue. Runner N looks to be like mostly kind of weapons and equipment parts there in black. Runner O, we've got two of these here in black. And one thing that I'll mention about the molding and the sharpness and the crispness of all the details, everything looks really nice, but I am noticing quite a lot of visible sink marks. So you can see like these circle bits right there that you can see on some of these areas. That's going to be sinks in the plastic that you're going to have to sand and or use putty if you want to get like a really super clean finish here if you're planning on painting the kit. Runner P for some more larger pieces here in blue. Then we're getting into some other different colors here. Runner Q is in a yellow color for a couple of different little yellow bits. Runner R we have two of. One is in plain clear and one is in a metallic red for some different little parts there. And then runner S is in clear blue here. Then we've got all of our W runners. So this first one is W1, which is also going to be in clear blue for the clear beam effects there. Then runners W2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all here in gray for the rest of our weapons parts. There's W2, W3 here. So it seems like they kind of separated each weapon onto its own runners. There's like the parts for the bazooka. W4 here looks like it's maybe for some like missile pods. And then W5 is for the rifle. W6 is some parts there for the shield in gray. W7 is here in blue. Again, I think that's probably mostly parts for the shield. And then W8 here is our clear blue parts for that, also looking very nice. Lastly, runner SP1 is for the giant axe. Now I'm wondering if this is maybe the kind of exclusive weapon that you get with this version of it for the full package edition. Again, I don't know offhand at the moment if there is going to be ever a different version that's not the full package version available later, or the full package edition, but at least with this you do have this big axe, which seems to be like it's like a separate thing that may be excluded from future versions, but I'll have to check on that. Alright guys, so here is the kit all built up. It's very impressive, I've gotta say. It's huge for one, it's very large, it's definitely bigger than your standard 1/100 scale like a Gundam kit, for example. It is gonna be, you know, still fairly simple as it doesn't have a full inner frame. It's not like a master grade kit or anything like that. In terms of the complexity though, it is fairly complex just in the way of all of the color separation. So as you guys will see, there's a lot of color separation between the different blacks and blues and white parts kind of. You have different colors poking out here and there. The color scheme is almost a little bit too chaotic. I think almost, but not quite. I think it still holds together pretty well. It looks awesome, all the details, all the angles and everything. And so far it seems like it's gonna be pretty solid. So even though it's got a pretty large design and quite heavy aspects to the kit, being like the legs and then the arms. Once you're holding some of the large weaponry and things, it might get a little bit heavy, but it seems like it should be fine. So let's go ahead and get into it, and we'll talk about those accessories here first. Alright, so first thing on the note of the LED, I'm not going to try it out in this video, but with the LED unit, you're going to need to use the plain clear parts. For the purposes of this review, I opted to use the metallic red parts, which would be for there in the eyes, for this little one, which is barely noticeable there in the chest, and there's one up in the head as well. Obviously, with these opaque parts, the LED unit is not going to be visible at all, but having that option certainly is nice if you do want to utilize that. Then for our base, it's pretty straightforward. You have a couple of points of adjustment. This part can move up and down the track. This part here, actually this whole kind of bottom section moves, so when you want to slide that kind of front leg of the base forward or back, that whole part will move like so. And then you can also rotate it here at the top, and the kit just plugs onto this peg right there, which is sort of short. I'm thinking for the size of the kit, it feels like that peg should have been maybe a little bit longer, but we'll see how that holds up. Should hold it up pretty well, I think. We do have a few other different attachment pieces that you can use with the base, which you don't need for this kit, but if you wanted to use the base with a different kit, you've got these included. And for the hand options, we've got these closed fists, which I've got right there on the kit at the moment. And we also have open hand options, which you'll just have to switch with those closed fists. You just switch the inner part of that for the open hands, and then we have a set of your weapon holding hands, which you'll use for all of your weapons, and you have these for the left and the right side for both of those. Starting off with the weapons, then we've got the high-end rifle, which does have a clear part in there for the main camera, and then a clear part up here as well for these little accents on the sides. Fairly simple construction, but really cool design here for this one. This rifle itself is about 15.5 centimeters in length, so that's probably about as tall as kind of your standard HG 1/44 scale Gundam. Let's see here, for example, with the 1/44 scale Strike Gundam, it's even taller than the 1/44 scale Strike. So even the rifle, which is kind of like its smaller weapon, is pretty large. We do also have the two laser swords. Cool looking beam effect for those. Then we've got the hybrid shield, which is also quite big. Our sword will store inside of here. It's kind of tight to pull that out of there, but the sword looks really cool. This guy is 23 centimeters in length, which is taller than most master grades. That's like, I think, the height of the transformed destroy mode unicorn. Just to give you a look at the length of this compared with this kit, it's basically the height of this kit. And the shield is cool. That does also extend out like that ever so slightly. This is where we're going to use those magnets to plug this into the arm. I kind of wish that we would have just had a regular peg and not the magnets. Honestly, it's kind of not really necessary, but the effect parts on the shield there do look quite nice. Then aside from the heavy sword, we also have the heavy axe, which is a pretty cool weapon. Again, pretty simple in its construction, but really cool design here for this one. This one's gonna be over 26 centimeters in length, so it's even longer. A massive weapon there. And then we've got the fire lance, which is this massive bazooka weapon here. We have a clear part for the camera in this as well. These two kind of ammo packs there up on the top. This does also extend out, kind of similar to like the Unicorn's bazooka. I want to say Hyper Bazooka, right? For the Unicorn Gundam. So that extends out. The total extended length being just shy of 21 centimeters in length. So really cool weapon. I love this weapon. It reminds me a lot of the bazooka used by the Astrays in Gundam Seed, sort of just because of the ammo there at the back. But love a good heavy weapon. And then we've got the gift unit, which is this extra unit which goes on the back here with these kind of big I don't know, kind of like thruster binders. And so these are articulated. These bottom parts here are articulated. These parts are articulated. You can move those around, kind of change the angle of these. And this is where the beam saber handles are stored. If you can see right in here, those just clip into place right here on the top of the kind of binder parts here of the gift unit. So that's really cool and quite large accessory pack here. That will attach onto the back skirt, so you have to take off this piece right here on the back of the waist unit, and you can plug that onto there. And we already have these like very Shinanju-esque looking thruster units up here at the top. I talked about the bazooka reminding me of the Unicorn Gundams, and just the kind of the overall design of this, there's a lot of similarities, or just there's a lot of aspects of this that remind me of either the Unicorn Gundam or the Shinanju. I mean, the proportions are also kind of very Shinanju-esque, the overall shape of it. Obviously, the visor is sort of like the Unicorn Gundam in Unicorn mode, and just kind of the overall, kind of the way that the armor is all designed, kind of the shapes and everything, also kind of similar to the Unicorn. If you were to paint this all white, I feel like it'd be looking very much like a Unicorn version of the Shinanju, essentially. But anyway, yeah, so it's got these up here, which you can move around in every which way. You can turn them, you can adjust the angle because they're just on a ball joint there, so you can move those around. And then attaching the gift unit onto the back here gives you even more going on the back side of the, I want to say mobile suit, but that's not right. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the articulation of this, as there's not any stickers to talk about or anything like that. But like I said, the color separation is really nice, especially up here, like at the head. You have a lot of colors going on. The head will move up to about there, which is not too bad. It would be nice if that could maybe move a little bit further up, but down to there. So kind of standard articulation there at the head. We do have a little bit of forward and back movement here at the waist section right there. Side to side though, no movement that way. You can also then just rotate the top and bottom half at the middle. Shoulder armor will swing to the front. As you can see, no seam lines here. That's nice, although there are going to be seam lines around here and there on the kit. A number of them, just not here, particularly on the shoulder. The shoulder armor will move up. This little flap here on the side of the shoulder armor can also move. You can bring the arm up ultimately to a little bit more than 90 degrees, but not too much more vertically than that. Rotation here below the elbow joint. Then you do also have rotation at the bicep as well, so kind of 2 points of articulation there. You do have a double joint in the elbow, which will allow for a pretty full elbow bend there. Right on the back side of the arm is where the shield is going to plug into. By the way, the hand is just on a ball joint, simple enough. The front skirts can move individually, up and down, up really kind of only to about there. They're gonna start to get stuck, so that means you can only bring the leg up to about 90 degrees, it looks like. The side skirts as well will go up, so you can bring the leg all the way out to the side, pretty far out like that, not completely out to the side, 90 degrees. But plenty enough that, like I said, my worry is going to be the weight issues, because the leg's very long and pretty heavy, so hopefully that'll be able to stay up without too much issue. And then back right here, the back skirts will also move up and down individually a little bit like so as well. Back to the legs, the hip joint will actually swing forward and back, so if you wanted to get the leg up and to the front a little bit more, you can swing that hip joint to the front. Can bring the leg up to still really only kind of to about there, and then a pretty awesome knee bend here. So just watch all the separation between all these parts as I bend this. So once you get to the first bend, that knee armor separates out and the smaller piece also separates, and then once we bend this even further, the thigh armor separates out like that. So a pretty awesome armor separation there for the knee bend. If you heard that piece fall off there while I was doing that, it was this little piece here on the backpack. Not too big a deal, but just a piece that you may want to glue these in just to make sure those don't fall off there on the back. But that's the first time that that's done that on me. But yeah, really cool knee bend there with the separation of the thigh and the knee armor into multiple sections like that. I definitely like it. And then down here at the ankle, we have a double joint, so you can get plenty of movement from the ankle forward and back. You can also point the toe down and up a little bit, up underneath the feet. You have full detail there. And this like big part here at the back just moves along with the foot there like that. The only issue that I'll say is that it's got a lot going on here at the top, so it's going to be kind of top heavy, really long legs, and then a double joint at the ankle. And so it does seem like the ankle is going to be maybe a little bit of a weak point if you're trying to just have this in a standing pose, not up on the base. You might want to be a little bit careful and be careful how you pose it, because the feet are also not that large proportionally to this pretty big body, and especially again those very long legs. So it might have some trouble with the ankles being a little bit weak to balance the weight if you have it in just a standing pose, but we have the included base, so you're probably going to have it on the base anyway. And on that note, let's go ahead and check out some poses. So for the first kit of this kind, I have to say I am thoroughly impressed. I love this for a number of reasons. That said, it's not perfect, I will say. I mean, there's some seam lines here and there, and there's some weak points in the articulation. Like I said, I'm a little bit worried about those ankles being able to support the weight of it if you have it on a ground pose. But overall, I think the articulation is quite nice. It's got full double joints in the elbows, the double joints at the knees, and the separation of all that knee armor is amazing, very cool. Just because of the size and the weight of the model, I think it would be nice if some of the joints were a little bit tighter, maybe possibly putting some sort of ratchet system in the joints of future kits I think would be nice. But the kit itself is really cool, and then all the weapons and stuff that we have included with this. So you got the heavy sword, the heavy axe, the beam rifle, the bazooka, the shield, the beam sabers, the gift unit, the stand. Yeah, there's a lot in this box, aside from just how big and awesome the main unit is. So there's a lot to enjoy with this kit. Definitely can recommend it. I'm really excited to check out some more of these in the future. Hopefully they'll be making some more. I've quite enjoyed the X-Career series of kits from Orange Cat Industry, which are basically just kind of like the SD version of this. So, and they've made quite a few of those. So if they make some different variations and different versions and stuff of this that are coming with a little bit different equipment and different weapons and different colorways and things, it's definitely something to look forward to future versions of this coming out. So I'm looking forward to that. And one other thing I should also be sure to mention is the fact that this also comes with that nice big sheet of waterslide decals as well. So it's definitely something that is a plus of this kit. If you do want to paint, or even if you don't feel like fully painting the kit, you just want to throw some of those decals on there. It doesn't really have a whole lot in the way of like panel line details. The kit, it like looks very detailed just because of all the color separation, all the colors and stuff going on. That said, it doesn't really have that much like surface detail on it. So if you wanted to just like panel line the kit just straight out of the box, there's just like kind of a lot of panel lining maybe just around some of the shapes, but not really that much like kind of smaller details and stuff to fill in with panel lining. Maybe on some of the weapons a little bit, but ultimately I think if you just wanted to do a little bit of panel lining on this, just maybe where it's needed, and then throw those waterslide decals on there and then some top coat on it, it's going to be a good looking kit just straight out of the box with very minimal work on it. But I think obviously, you know, of course, fully painting it up and doing it up, you know, removing some of the seam lines where there are some here and there on it. And I should say, I think I've made it sound a little bit like there's quite a number of seam lines on it. Well, there's really not all that many. There's really only a few here and there. It's really not that bad at all, just because of the color separation, the part separation of everything. You don't have too much in the way of seam lines on this. So I think if you did want to paint this up, I think it's going to be a really good looking kit and not really take necessarily all that much work. While it is big, it's not super parts heavy, as in there's not like a bunch of parts to the inner frame or anything like that, like you would have if this was a master grade kit from Bandai, for example. But anyway, guys, I'm looking forward to working on this some more and hopefully future versions coming out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this? And if you want to check out this kit for yourself or others from Orange Cat Industry or other just mecha models, anything else, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Check out everything that we've got in stock there on the website. And as always, guys, if you'd like to like and or subscribe while you're here, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for your support. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.